Oh hey, you want this?
Okay, B-roll's cool, but we have got tonkatsu to make here, so get a pork loin that's about 1.5 cm in thickness, and normally people tell you to smash the pork down with a smasher, but that's fucking dumb, cause you don't want to flatten the pork. You want a nice thick piece of pork. So instead, cut the tendons individually using a sharp knife, but don't cut it all the way through because it will separate the meat in a way that makes it look unpresentable, which is fine if you're into that. Season it with salt and pepper, preferably the night before, but if you absolutely suck at planning like me, you can do this right before cooking it as well. And for those who aren't, cover it with plastic wrap and put them into the fridge. Now for the panko, we're using fresh panko rather than dry panko, mainly because it's dog shit and we don't fuck with that. Now you might not be able to find fresh frozen panko off the shelf, and that's because the Japanese likes holding all the good shit. Fortunately, you can make fresh panko with either a blender or shredding it by hand using one of these. And by these I meant the medium blade that they come with. Now using this blade, you're able to shred the bread into small fresh panko that's much chunkier than dried panko. This will really give a flaky, crunchier texture on the outside. Occasionally there will be these bigger clumps of bread that you would have to peel by hand though. Once you're done, just set it aside and get a dry pan on medium heat because we're about to toast some sesame seeds for the tonkatsu sauce. You'll need around a tablespoon of sesame seeds per tonkatsu. All you really need to do is wait for it to brown and make sure it browns evenly.
Once it's done, just put it into one of those grindy things. What do you call them? Suribashi. Yeah, I think.
And now you can whip up some egg and set up your coating station. All you need is panko, egg, and plain flour. I'm not giving any precise measurements for these because you only need as much as to coat the meat entirely. Speaking of coating the meat, please coat all the sides completely. Shake off all the excess flour and put it into the egg mixture. Now like most people, you probably don't want to get your hands sticky with eggs, so get a sharp item like moribashi or a skewer, like you should at least have a skewer, right? Maybe? I don't know. Flip the pork using it and make sure the egg is properly coated onto the meat. Now just drop that into the panko and get the panko to stick to every surface of the pork. Shake off the excess and put them onto a tray if you're doing more than one, and it'd help if the tray had some sort of net that elevated the pork. Get a pan that's wide enough for you to fry the meat in and deep enough for around 3 centimeters of oil. Heat the oil up to 180 degrees Celsius before you start frying. Now what I've learned is that the thermometer reads differently depending on the temperature of the room. So for reference, drop a few panko in and it should not only be bubbling but also turn light brown after a few seconds. I would flip 3-4 times during cooking because the bottom of the pan will be hotter and you don't want it to burn. Cook until it's properly browned and leave it on a rack to rest, and also allows the oil to drip away from the pork. While waiting for the tonkatsu to rest, let's make the sauce. Crush the toasted sesame seeds from earlier and it will explode with good smell. Yes. Am I mocking the Japanese? Maybe? Anyway, add 1.5 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of Worcester sauce. God, I hate that word. 1 tablespoon of honey and 1/2 tablespoon of oyster sauce. And you can mix and match these 4 ingredients to suit yourself. I like it more sweet, so I add more honey. Traditionally, you serve tonkatsu with shredded cabbage, but honestly, I don't really like cabbage. And this video is about tonkatsu and not cabbage, so you can really pair it with whatever veggie you want. And there you go. Fucking tonkatsu in 5 minutes. Like, that's a good short recipe, right? But in reality, you probably struggle and take you an hour, but yeah, you're done.